This is the Galaxy S22 Ultra, Samsung's latest flagship smartphone that's designed to go head-to-head with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Inside of the box, we have the phone itself, which we'll take a closer look at in a sec. We get a SIM tool, your typical documentation, and then finally a USB-C cable. But here it is. We got the phone in this phantom black color, which to this day is my favorite color on any smartphone. Now, this year with the S22 Ultra, Samsung ditched the wraparound camera housing design from last year, and instead they went with this flat back with these squared off edges, which I don't hate, but I will say in terms of the feel in the hand, this phone isn't as comfortable to hold as last year's since the square edges kind of poke into your palm. And with the phone not having your typical camera housing, you would think that the phone would rock less while lying flat on a table, but since the individual cameras protrude quite a bit and they're also not even with the ones on the left side protruding more, it actually rocks back and forth more aggressively than last year's. It's not that big of a deal, especially if you put a case on it, but it is something worth noting. Speaking of notes, the S22 Ultra is the first Galaxy S phone to come with an included S Pen, and I'm happy to see it. With the S Pen, you can visually jot down your thoughts on the fly, you can take photos remotely by pressing on that little button, and one of the most underappreciated features about the S Pen is it just gives you something to click on while you're sitting at your desk. Now, the good news is even though the S Pen takes up quite a bit of internal space, it's the equivalent of like 4 or 5 headphone jacks stacked up on top of each other, Samsung managed to keep the S22 Ultra about the same size and weight as the S21 Ultra while retaining that massive 5000 mAh battery. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this phone is going to do in our battery test, considering it has a new and more efficient 4nm chip to go along with its new and more efficient display. I'm not sure if any of that will translate into challenging a phone like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which at the moment sits at the top of our battery test rankings, but it'll be interesting to see. In terms of the phone's camera system, it's basically the same camera hardware from last year, and that's actually a good thing because this camera system is really good. The flexibility of the zoom range is one of the best on any phone right now, with it not only having the ultra-wide, wide, and 3x telephoto like the iPhone does, but it also comes with that 10x telephoto camera that makes everything just look dreamy. And at least according to Samsung, this year's version also comes with some software improvements to improve low-light photo and video. We'll be doing some camera tests like we always do over on Instagram, so if you want to see those, follow us over there at PhoneBuff. But overall, until we run our tests, there's not much more to say. It's a new Galaxy S phone, but with an S Pen. It's not necessarily the most exciting upgrade we've ever seen unless you've been really waiting for a phone with a stylus, but keep in mind that the Galaxy S21 Ultra from last year was arguably the best smartphone in 2021, so any improvement on that device makes for a pretty good smartphone.